Dealing with aviation, Paul, the auto business must be like a walk in the park.
Well, thanks, Tom. Really excited to be here with you all today. And we've certainly had our share of challenges in my first year and a half, but it has been wonderful.
My challenge, Paul, is the middle class of America can't afford a new car. You've got the Hummer HEV Edition 1 at $112,000 whatever in your driveway. The middle class can't afford a Chevrolet. How do you make new cars affordable to the middle class?
Well, we've got a lot of affordable products on the way, and what we're doing, we're already producing the Chevy Bolt, which is a great EV alternative at a lower price range. The Chevy Blazer right behind me, which we just debuted, is coming at a lower price point. We've talked about the Equinox EV, which will come at about $30,000.
Right.
So our goal here is to really provide electric vehicles across our entire customer portfolio, and that's one thing that General Motors has done very well through its history.
I spoke to our David Welch, who knows a lot more about this than I do, and he said there's only one question. What are you doing about supplies, the chemistry of battery, the stuff Mary Barra is good at, not you, but the chemistry of batteries, the manufacturing of batteries. How do you fold battery development into the end of this year and into 2023 to sell more units?
Well, we've been very thoughtful about our approach, going back to the design of the Ultium battery platform, which gives us the ability to make a diverse suite of vehicles, whether it's the Chevy Blazer behind me or the Bright Drop van or the Cruise Origin across the board. It gives us a lot of versatility. But one of the challenges that the market's been talking about a lot is how do we get the raw materials to do that? And I'm pleased to report that our team today, we've announced that we've secured all of the battery raw materials needed to produce 1 million vehicles in 2025 with binding agreements. So we're ready to go. As our Ultium facility in Lordstown, Ohio begins production in just a few weeks, we'll be able to rapidly scale our EV production and make progress towards those goals.
So that's the electric vehicle side of things, but every vehicle that is produced is now a computer, evidently, because of the chips that are required to give them all of their features. You talk about a chip shortage persisting and that you're reducing your potential output as a result. How long do you see that persisting for?
Well, this is something that we've been working through really since December of 2020, and I think the team's been remarkably resilient in our ability to manage it. We know that this year, as we've talked about, we're going to see production up 25 to 30% over last year's levels. We've seen a first half that's up year over year. That momentum will continue and grow in the second half as we lap the challenges that we had in the third quarter of last year, particularly around Malaysia. So they've done a really good job in the short term. Longer term, we're focusing on simplifying the semiconductor architecture inside the vehicles and going with much fewer chip families that are going to enable us to partner deeper through the supply chain and more consistently in the long term.
You also say that you're going to reduce discretionary spending and limit hiring to critical needs. We've been talking a lot about the labor market and when it's going to start to soften. From your perspective, what does it mean to limit hiring to critical needs? When does that turn into reductions in overall staff count?
Yeah, so we're not contemplating any layoffs. We don't have any plans to lay off workers. We went through a fairly big restructuring back in 2018 in which the company, prior to my arrival, did an amazing job of saving $4 to $4.5 billion annually and paving the way for the investments that we need to make in the cost structure to produce EVs. So as you see us going into 2022, we called out a lot of headwinds, over $5 billion of inflationary pressures year over year, and said that we were going to adjust some of our growth plans to make sure that we were moderating that and being disciplined in how we brought fixed costs in.
Paul, one final question. The emotion here is a GM with a drawdown from the share high here of 47%. I want to focus on the miracle of the aviation business, which is you ended up developing persistent revenue, more responsible revenue, and more persistent free cash flow. Can you do the same miracle in the American automotive business? It's been basically a walking train wreck for 10, 15, 20 years. Can you bring the financial discipline to develop persistent free cash flow to General Motors?
Well, what I'm really excited about the opportunity here at GM is it's an industry that's in transformation, not just a company. So when we look at the capabilities of electric vehicles and what they can bring to consumers, we're focused on the entire universe of revenue opportunities beyond just the first sale of the vehicle.
Yeah.
And a great example of that is the deal that we just announced with Pilot Flying J to bring charging infrastructure to America's interstates. So with more than 2,000 highway chargers,
Right.
we'll have a network that will provide great benefits for GM customers.